and press it. I'll admit.
All right, I'll let you run that while I'm running this. There you go. All right, so our event today is Girl Power, how to get girls interested in STEM. And today I'm Amy Baldwin, I'll be your host. And I have some co-hosts with me. I've got Tracy Elmore from the 2020 South Carolina STEM Educator of the Year. I got Cynthia Spratley from York County Teen Science Cafe. And I have Latia Gary from Million Women's Mentors. And we're excited to be here to share our knowledge with you today. Why is it important to encourage girls in STEM? If you've ever been in middle school, you see a lot more boys in our STEM classes than girls. So getting that early exposure helps. A lot of times girls think it's just for boys because they haven't had that exposure. But after school clubs, camps, opportunities encourage girls and raise that awareness in STEM careers, which is ultimately where we'd like them to go just a little further. Events promoting these careers can boost our numbers of enrollment in our classes, as well as in jobs in the state. Is key to diversifying our workplace. And today, as I said, we have our 4 amazing ladies with us, and we're kind of spread across the state so we can show you some things that have worked in the Low Country, the Midlands, and in the Upstate with you today. So I'm going to start off with Latia. If you can tell us just a little bit about Million Women's Mentors, and we'll let you get started.
Yeah, thanks. Hi, everyone. I am Latia Gary, and I am the Million Women Mentors State Chair for South Carolina. Just quickly about myself, I'm an electrical engineer by trade, and I was one of those little girls who was looking for a STEM program. At the time, it wasn't called STEM. We didn't have STEM. And I had to search and find. And so it's really good to hear about all the different organizations throughout the state of South Carolina that have put the young ladies at the forefront. And that's one of the things that we do with statewide, right? And we're working to have a statewide reach of encouraging young women and girls pursue STEM fields. Now, our vision is to obtain equality for girls and women in STEM education and careers in South Carolina. And so in order to do that, we partner with other organizations. Whether it's the York Teen Science Cafe, we work with them, SC Codes, and other organizations. We're looking to build relationships. Because as we all know, it's not only what you know, but who you know. We're working to build those relationships so that we can help encourage and promote more young women in STEM fields. So that was a little bit about us and some of the partners that we have. To tell you a little bit more about the organization and what we're actively doing, we actually just announced our new. We haven't decided what to call them yet. We're still working on that. In the past, it's been student lead, and there's been co-student leads. But this year we selected, this was the first year where our selection of students was of such a high caliber that we were able to choose students in all 4 grades of high school. We've never been able to do that before, but this year the selection of students were amazing. So we have these young ladies, they're joining our board of directors. And we do that so that we can always have a young lady in our midst that are telling us what this generation wants, what this generation wants to do. Because, sorry, but a group of older ladies thinking and saying what a young lady or girl may want, it's not the same. Let's just face it. When I was in college, it was almost 20 years ago. It was 20. The same. The interaction isn't the same. So we need to have their input, and that's what we're working to do. And one of the ways that we do that is with our high school to college webinar. This is an opportunity for our students to ask college students to actually speak one-on-one, student to student, high school, college, what to expect, how to prepare, how do you manage, what's your social life, not only about classes, but also about social life, and having that balance. Again, it's information that today my information is outdated. So we want to have someone there and that's current to be able to share that. Something else that we have coming up is our symposium, our 2022 symposium, which is titled Empowering the Next Generation of STEM Leaders. This is an opportunity where we're going to highlight women throughout the state that are doing amazing things in STEM. So please come out, please join us, and you will be able to actually speak, network, and connect with some of these awesome women that are throughout the state. Again, we're a statewide organization, so we look to build we look to build relationships and have those partners to help us encourage and keep these lovely, wonderful, smart, intelligent women pursuing STEM. Thank you.
Thanks, Latia. And I did just drop your email in the chat in case anybody wants to connect to you as well. And we're very appreciative of having companies and groups and organizations like your ladies to reach out to these girls. And I love that you have your young ladies on your panel. They were so nice to meet at the state capitol.
They're amazing.
Next up, I'm going to talk about my movement that has started in the Charleston area. And it's called Girl Power. And just to give you a little background, I was the 2021 STEM Educator of the Year, and my platform was about changing the face of STEM and getting more diversity. I've been a middle school teacher for 22 years in Latson, which is outside of Somerville, Charleston area of South Carolina. I've taught math and science, and I'm currently a Project Lead the Way Gateway to Technology teacher. I've coached, you name it, I've probably coached it, which is actually where my Girl Power movement started. I wanted to have more than one or two girls applying to my robotics teams and events. And the picture on the screen is actually my very first group of students who are now juniors and seniors in college, graduating with different STEM careers and reaching back. It's kind of neat. So when we got started, we started very simply. We ran something after school called a Girl in Tech Club. Some people have heard of Girls Who Code, just a different type of organization. We used CS First, which is a Google-based program written out of Berkeley County, South Carolina, fashion design to teach the girls how to code. And we invited different women from different businesses to come and speak during our coding hours and talk. And the girls absolutely loved it. And it was 25 girls after school for 4 weeks. And their only complaint when it was done, as normal, if girls have a good time, is, can we do it again? So from there, we were starting to increase our enrollment in our classes and getting more girls interested. So then we decided to go a little younger. We actually went to the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts organizations in our school. We started pushing into any after school STEM event, taking robots and our mentors with them and doing elementary activities and starting to get that hook in elementary. We know we got to super hook them in middle school because they start to kind of decide what they might want to be. But we needed to get them to know ahead of time that, hey, STEM exists. And so we started getting more and more kids into our classes. These are my 4 young ladies who came to me. They are all juniors in high school now. And they came to me and said, Miss Baldwin, we want an all-girls robotics team. We don't want to work with those boys anymore. And so I contacted my friend at Boeing, and the picture name's Kristen Bigley. And we said, let's have an all-girls robotics team. Our all-girls robotics team went to high school competitions and middle school combined. And it was interesting that the boys teams were picking them to pair up with because they knew what they were doing. They took it really seriously. And so I was so excited, and I got more girls, and they piqued the interest of Kristen and I to start an event. In October 2019, we had our first Girl Power event. We had this event on a Saturday at Oak Brook. Everything was free. It had 4th through 8th grade girls. We had 63 girls attend our Girl Power event and 27 volunteers from the community. We had 1 male. We gave him the desk job. He had to keep track of where all the people were. And you can see in this picture, the girls came out and had a fantastic time. And after this great time, I've spent this year sharing my Girl Power strategies. So someone like you, so Cynthia or Tracy or Latia, if you find someone else who wants to do it, they could start an activity just like this in their area with no problem. The way we did this is we learned that no more than 25 girls per group, as a lot of you probably learned, too many hands, too many people. We created 4 to 5 sessions for the girls to rotate with. In our planning, we made sure to have something the girls could do independently, with a partner, and with a group, so that they had their own success no matter what their level of experience was. And we made sure in our coding sessions to make sure they had time to work independently and to share and interact with the partner, because girls love to talk and interact. As you can see from our our schedule, we arranged things so everybody moved in a flight, very organized, moved from one session to the other. We did a coding challenge, we did a Lego build, we did airplanes with our friends at Boeing, and then everybody loves a good marshmallow tower, because you just want a good hands-on challenge that you can eat afterwards. And so our event rotated from 8:30 in the morning until we actually left at 11 that day, because we did awards and everyone had a great time. And as you can see from the event, we had a diverse number of girls. And again, the only complaint we had was, why was it only a one-day event? Unfortunately, our second event got canceled due to COVID, but this year we did do a virtual option where we downloaded the activities onto our district's website. We used Teams, and the girls could upload their videos and comment, interact, and we're working towards a May, June event to bring it back. But it has encouraged classes and taking our STEM programs in our high schools even, which is great, because the first time I went to a high school, there was 1 girl and 25 boys in the room. So our robotics coaches in the high school and things. So we're excited to have this. I will happily share with anyone who would like, and I'll drop my email. I have all of the activities mapped out with you, everything planning wise, so anyone can easily do this with a very inexpensive cost. My entire event cost $10, which was the cost of the marshmallows and the straws. We used things we just had around the school. We have Legos. Some of you, if you have a Lego robotics team, we have Legos everywhere. So we took advantage of what we had and made it work for the girls. So that's something we've done in the Low Country. And I'm going to pass it over next to Cynthia, who can talk about our South Carolina Teen Science Cafe, which comes to you from York County.
Hello, I am Cynthia Rock Hill, and I've been facilitating this group since 2017. It is a national group. There's a national website, and I'll put that in the chat when I'm done talking. But I went to a conference and found out about it and brought it back to South Carolina, and we've been doing it ever since. It's really my passion, and I really enjoy it. What we do is we have both guys and girls in the group, but we really go after the guidance counselors at the high school to help us find girls that are interested, or, because they come in and pick their classes and the counselors get to help them choose. So we started there, and then we have science teachers and people in the high schools, both private and public, that encourage the kids to come. We also invite homeschoolers. So we have a good diverse mix of different kinds of schooling. And I think the kids actually enjoy that social part the most. So this is a picture. We didn't get a picture because of the pandemic last year, but this is from 2019. So actually 2 years old now. We'll have to get one this year, but it's hard. So, but this is what the teens said, and this is a teen group led by teens. So it's teen to teen. We have advisory group right here in this picture. And this is what they said about why they like Teen Science Cafe. We did a survey, and they said we like the STEAM type speakers. We want to hear more from people that are in, we do STEM and STEAM. And then hands-on activities. They really enjoy that. So I'm with Amy. If you can do activities that really gets them excited about things. It's free. We don't charge for them to come. It's we have Q&A with experts. They said they like the STEAM career part because they can delve into careers afterwards that they just found out about. And this is where we went to one of the Science Cafe Imagine. I think Clemson puts this on different parts of the state. It was an Imagine STEM, and we had a Science Cafe booth, and we had our teens come and work that, and they got to have those experiences of talking to the public. We also have speakers that bring things to do. This was a man that brought his itty bitty antenna that he actually tries to pick up not only UFO type stuff or signals from space, but he also does data research with using it on traffic patterns. So that was kind of interesting. So they got to go out and actually experience that with the traffic. So you can go ahead to the next one. We do teach leadership skills. So that's important for us. And we want to mentor the teens. So we help them with colleges and recommendations, things like that, or helping them understand how to get hold of different STEM options. We have these professional STEAM speakers and the sponsors, and you can see Million Women's Mentors is on there because they have definitely been a community partner with us and encouraged us along the way. And we're looking for some more business partners. We got Beacon Media does STEM. They do medical devices for hospitals. And so we got a tour there this year, and we also got them to sponsor a panel of people to come speak to us. So it's a different speaker every month. So we meet monthly as an advisory, then we meet monthly with a speaker. So you can see we had a lot of women speakers. I particularly go after women. We do have a few men that come in too, and just trying to get a lot of different diversity in the topics. So the teens, like I said, run the cafe. I'm just a facilitator. So they choose the topics, and that makes the buy-in a lot higher. So like you said, Latia, when you have students speaking up for what they believe in and what is going to be important and relevant to their generation, it makes a big difference on getting a crowd of teens to come. So, all right, we can go to the next slide. And then this is where we went. We did a behind the scenes tour during COVID. I was surprised they opened up to us, but they let us come in as long as we were masked. And we went through all kinds of standard. And this was just for the advisory teens, but it was really, really cool. And they came away with that knowing, okay, within a manufacturing business, there are actually probably 30 different careers going on. You know, they've got everything from marketing and all that, but they've also got all the technical things. They were doing hydraulics, robotics. The packaging is all sustainable. It's a very sustainably oriented company. So they got a lot of that information, and they just really enjoyed it. They did sponsor our t-shirts this year, so I have to point that out. It was really nice. So we do a t-shirt, and that is our main marketing. So on campus, we encourage the teen advisors to wear these, especially the days that we have cafes, and it does generate conversations. So it helps us get the word out to their peers. These are kids that actually went through the advisory, and they got mentorship awards. So they showed different characteristics of leadership. And so at the end, we gave them awards and certificates, and they could use it. The advisors that come in, we try to get them as a freshman or a sophomore, and then they stay with us all the way through. We've had very few drop out, which has been great. So they'll be in there 3 or 4 years, which gives us a lot of stability. And again, these are popping up around the United States, these teen science cafes. If you're interested, I'll put the national website in the chat too. But there is one in Charleston at the aquarium. They're on hold right now because of the pandemic, but they were offering programs at the Charleston Aquarium for a Teen Science Cafe. And then there's one that's going to start, I think, next year at Roper Mountain Science Center in Greenville. So we need something in Columbia, if anybody's in Columbia. So it'd be great to have one down there. There is a adult teen science, or not teen, adult science cafe happening in Aiken, I found out, Aiken, South Carolina. So it's more for adults, but they're interested in a teen one maybe. So I'm trying to reach out to people that might want to start one and help share the knowledge that we've gained. All to come. This is our next one, our last one for this year. We stop in April. We go September through April. And this is a really neat speaker. She works at the Greenwood Genetic Center, and she's going to talk about the ethics behind genetics. The kids want to know some about that. They know about genetics because they studied that in high school biology, but they wanted to find out more about what's the ethics, because they're seeing that as things have evolved and changed in that area, that it's hard because people are making some really hard choices. If they know they have genetic disabilities in their background or something, that they want to know more information about what's the chances or the percentage that they might have a baby with those I hate to say defects, but those kind of challenges, let's put it that way, those kind of challenges. So anyway, that's something we're having, and y'all are welcome to come. This is the link that we have out, and I'll put that in the chat too, and you just type that in and it goes a confirmation, and we do it all by Zoom right now. So anyone from around the state can come. So I think that's it, but thank you for having me today. And I would be happy to talk to anyone that's interested in Teen Science Cafe. It's an awesome program. Being around teens is a lot of energy, and we do 8th grade to 12th grade. So we do start middle school. I agree with you. We'd like to go younger, but they're just not quite the maturity that we can handle right now with the speakers. So we're starting with 8th grade, but we would love to hook them early. So, and I wanted to say this real quick. We have over 75% of our participants last year on Zoom was our young women. And so it really is hitting that sweet spot. And we had about 37% were other than white Caucasian women. So that was nice too, that we're seeing a lot of diversity in ethnicity and also in serving the women.
Thank you, Cynthia. That's exciting to hear about different things going on across the state. And I love that you're sharing this experience so someone else could try it themselves if they like.
Yep.
Next up, we're going to move to the Midlands, and we're going to talk about STEM camps for girls and the opportunities that Tracy Elmore has done with her students. So Tracy, you're up.
Thank you. Hey, I am Tracy Elmore, and I've been teaching about 35 years, so a long time. And we just really, about 8 years ago, started a STEM program at our school. So we haven't been involved in STEM a long time, but I saw the need for girls, and just researching and reading things. Girls struggle in STEM a lot because they don't feel like they know enough. When I started teaching robotics, Project Lead the Way classes, I noticed my girls would kind of stand back, and they want the boys to kind of jump in. And so I tried in the classroom to encourage them. And so I started the STEM club so they could have a chance with just themselves to have that experience in engineering and coding and programming. And so the next slide, Amy, with the schedule. This is just a sample schedule. We, talked about each day, why STEM, why is it important in our world, and we talked about particular careers through using Learning Blade, and just some videos that I found on, like environmental engineering or mechanical engineering, just so they could be exposed to what. When I was doing my, it ran for 4 days, from 8 to 2:30. I tried to get different areas, different activities, STEM activities for the different science areas. So like life science, physical science, coding, programming. I just lost chemistry, earth science. Sorry, my brain just went blank there. But I tried to get different activities for all of those so they could have an experience in all those areas of science. My background is science, so I kind of stem from those science standards on my curriculum. But it was funny because I put it out on the school website and on Facebook that we were doing this STEM camp, and 2 girls that I taught in middle school or in college now, Madison and Bailey, and they texted me, want to do this? And I was like, yes, fantastic. And so they came, they worked with the girls, they talked to the girls about why they went into these particular careers. This is Bailey, and Bailey is a junior in college now. She's in civil engineering, and it actually stemmed from her grandfather that was a civil engineer, and just encouraged her to continue on. And she actually, I asked if they could come back this summer, but they're both with full-time jobs now, so they can't help me. I was so sad. But she is actually, I'm gonna kind of read what she sent to me. She is working part-time with a custom door company, and she was as an accepted an internship where she will be working full-time with Dennis Corporation as a civil engineer intern for the summer of 2022. So she's very excited about that. She's into the structural part of civil engineering, which was part of that robotics and, you know, stuff that we did with that. And then the next one is Madison, and Madison is at the Citadel, and she is in mechanical engineering and wants to take that into the military. And Amy got to even see her when she went for something at the Citadel the other day, which was kind of cool. But she is in robotics big time, and she builds robots constantly, and so she was a perfect match. Bailey was a little timid with the robotics, but she jumped right on in there, and she'd say, Madison, come help me, I don't know what to do. But it was good for those girls to see those two work together and to work with them, and it inspired a lot. And of course, you know, like Amy said, the girls are like, this ends? We want more, you know, so that's exciting. And I've already heard we're teaming up, getting ready for our next, this next one this summer. And they're excited about it and ready to go. Of course, some of them asked me, are we doing the same thing? I was like, no, we're not doing the same thing. We're doing different things. The picture on the left, well, you're right, with the two girls in the box of sand, that they're engineering a bridge. And it was funny because Bailey and Madison, you know, going into engineering, they went out in the hallway to do theirs because they didn't want the girls to copy their bridge. And then they got really nervous when I went out to check on them, and they were like, what if ours fails in front of them? They were like, we should be really good. But it worked. It went well. The kids loved it. They enjoyed looking at what Madison and Bailey had done and what they had done and testing it out with weights and all. And then the other picture is with the Lego robotics, the hopper. We tried a tile surface, the carpet surface, and the tabletops, and did different surfaces, and they tested those out. And of course, they wanted walls because they kept trying to cross over, and they didn't want them to cross over, so they built the walls. So, you know, they just come up with what they would like to do. You can do the next one. At the end, on the last day, I told my principal I wanted the parents to come in because I wanted the parents to see what the girls had done, all what they had learned. I wanted the girls to present because that's part of STEM, is being able to have those presentation skills, which they're behind on because of the pandemic, and they haven't been in school and presented and stuff. So it was a good experience for them to do that. And they helped decorate the room and put everything out of what they had built and done and engineered. And you can see the drone. They were testing the drone out. We did rubber band parts. Is in that first picture with the butterflies, and then they did bubble painting, which was really cool. Our principal came in and did bubble painting with them. I also took girls, I usually do, this past year, and well, since 2020, this was 2019, they haven't done it, but Columbia College does a wonderful math and science day for girls. It is an excellent program. They have changed it in some ways, but it is still an amazing program that the girls go to. It's a Saturday, and high school girls go in November, middle school girls go in February. But they have different activities for them. They compete against other groups. They get to network with other girls from other schools and other districts across the state. It's just an amazing day. The next slide kind of shows they did several activities. They did, you know, they want to eat afterwards, and they did chemistry through slushies, and then they bioengineering here, where they had the outline of a body, and they had to place the organs in the right place, and then they were building their egg drop. And they actually took a in Columbia College, like very high, and dropped them like it was really high. The girls were freaking out. It's gonna die, it's gonna die. But they were very excited to see, you know, who's survived and who's didn't and why, and, you know, that they brought it up. So this is a picture, Josh Snyderman, who does Learning Blade, is a representative of Learning Blade. He also writes books. And he sent my girls, he spoke with my girls that week, and he sent them a book of each, and they were very excited. Madison and, but it just talks about different women in science and what they have done. He did a really good job with that. And then that's our group when we went to Math and Science Day at Columbia College. Y'all check that out if you are wanting something for your middle school girls, because they really do a good job there. Hopefully they'll get it started again this coming next February. So hopefully. And this, I emailed Amy this morning after she said this was the final one and said, I really want to put this in. This is from STEM Day. So these are students that I taught in middle school. And we did robotics together in middle school. And to see them at the Capitol achieve what I have goosebumps now, to achieve what they have achieved, just, it melted my heart. And they are our future leaders. And it's Josh, he topped out on the state standardized test. Like, he was top notch. And Jenna and Peyton were up there as well, but he made perfect score every year. But Jenna, on the right of me, the tallest one, she actually is on the dean's list in robotics in the nation, which is amazing. She was sharing that with me, and she this robotics group is going to Texas, you know, for world championships. So it's good to see that what we do really comes out, and they really do, even though sometimes you think they're not listening to you or they're not paying attention, they really are, and they really do internalize it. And I'm so proud of these three, Peyton and Jenna and Josh. I'm so proud of them. But and especially, you know, the girls excelling. There is another girl I did not teach that was there, and she did all the coding, which was on those long, you can see behind Josh, those boards. Like, she wrote those codes. And her mama used to teach in our county. She was a chemistry teacher. But, you know, it fills your heart. It fills your heart, because that's what it's all about. So thank you, Amy, for letting me put that in at the end.
You're welcome. I was so proud. And tell me the young lady in the middle's name again.
Jenna.
Jenna, the fact that she read the governor's proclamation,
Yes.
and I mean, killed it. She did such a great job, and just that air of confidence doing it. I was so proud of all of them. The things they learn in these STEM programs and these STEM camps are outstanding. So as we're kind of wrapping up, and then we'll have some Q&A if anybody who has attended has any additional questions. Where to start? Maybe you don't want to host a big event. Maybe you're not ready for one of these. Maybe you want to start small. And we all talked about it. Inviting a career speaker, reaching out to Latia to have some of those Million Women mentors come speak to your kids, because, you know, they've got to see the different avenues that are out there that they didn't know existed. You know, starting with a small club where you meet maybe once in 9 weeks or once a quarter or once a month. Lots of opportunities. There's lots of good after school programs, lots of good resources out there that can easily help you do that with minimal. Another fun one we've done at our school was we had a 1-hour mother-daughter event. We kind of called it a lunch and learn. They came, we had a guest speaker, so the parent heard also, shared a little pizza, and we did a little build challenge with the parents versus the students, which was quite entertaining. Because the girls want to show their parents everything that they know. But it's a great opportunity, again. Invite your female mentors, invite your NIWIC. They do a lot of STEM days down here, Million Women Mentors, Boeing, or different ones that we've worked with. But there again, there's tons across the state. And if you reach out and you ask, we can help find you those resources and those people who would love to come and talk. Some helpful resources that I've included, and we might have some additional ones. I know Cynthia dropped one in the chat. Girl Power is an actual organization through Vex Robotics and Robotics Education. You can go on their site and there's activities for you to try. So like Tracy said, you might do one year and different activities next. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's so many opportunities out there for you. CS First is a free software program that can teach kids how to code. It's geared 4th through 8th grade. Fashion design is one the girls love because they make the girls change their costumes and they dance and they slide and they move. And it's nice because if your district like mine has blocked Scratch due to other reasons, CS First has an embedded version of Scratch now that does not block because it's used, so we can still teach that free coding. It's a great after school club or something to do maybe on half days if your school has clubs. And then Learning Blade, which Tracy also mentioned, is a free program in the state of South Carolina. It's free to our students, to our schools. It can link through Clever. It can do hands-on activities. There's at-home groups or just learning about careers. So lots of opportunities there. And Josh Schneiderman, one of the CEOs, is a huge supporter of females in STEM, as Tracy shared with you. So I hope coming today, we've got about a little bit of time left up. If anybody has a question in the chat or has other items that they would like to share or talk to us about, we can happily do that. But ladies, I am so thankful to have met all of you guys on my journey and to be able to share all the wonderful things we're doing across the state of South Carolina to promote women in STEM. So to our moderators, do we have any questions in the chat? I know we had a few people come in and join. I see lots of positive comments. Yes, we can make sure that we put those helpful sites and links in the chat for a quick reference. So I will drop those in just a minute. And that some of the universities do require the grants. I know down here at the Citadel, Jennifer does a ton with coding and summer camp programs. I know they're coming out left and right this time of year to try to get kids hooked in opportunities. Does anyone else have anything to share? Latia, we're just happy to get up and get moving and love to have some of these girls maybe attend some of our events if they have an opportunity that are on your panel. That would be awesome. So does anybody else have any questions?
I just have a comment just to remind everyone, we have the symposium coming up on the 8th. It's not only just for adults this year. We have an opportunity for students. We have a workshop built just for students. So that, again, they can talk amongst themselves. And we have a few recent graduates who are working in awesome fields where they can ask them questions about their careers. So it's not just adults, but also students are able to attend.
Great. Carm, I see you have a question for us. Hey, good to see you on your tropical island.
I wasn't sure if you ladies all of you can hear me, but I do have a question because you all mentioned a lot of your successes and the story. The earlier research, there has been very few information about where young students, whether they were males or females, were inspired to get into STEM fields. And all of you mentioned about great opportunities that you're exposing, especially young women to. So my question is that tracking them, like Amy, you mentioned, as well as Tracy, and I'm sure Cynthia too, tracking them of where they are and their experiences and where they are now or where they're going to, those are great stories. And that also adds to data that we all need as a whole of students. So how do you guys go about tracking your students? Maybe some people that are on this webinar call really have not thought about that. And what are some ways that you have learned to track? I mean, do you keep their emails? Are I'd like to hear that from all of you of how you track your successes from your experiences to what they're pursuing in life and what they're getting into with the job career or things like that. Those are great stories to keep and great data. So how are you tracking them?
Cynthia, do you want to go first?
I'll go first. I just personally build relationships with the kids and mentor them in such a way that I usually can keep in touch with them. But I will be honest, with the pandemic, some of them got so overwhelmed and were having trouble in college. They weren't, doing well. So I think a lot of them needed support, and that's how they reached back out, and that's how I found them again. But it's hard. I will say when they go to college, they change their emails. So just keeping emails is not the way to go. You need their phone numbers and their emails and maybe their parents' address, because I can always send a note back home to mom and dad, maybe they haven't moved if I lose track of one of them. Maybe 3 from the original year that we did it. And that's because I just have a personal relationship. I see them on LinkedIn. They're out of college now, they're in careers. And so I see them on LinkedIn or maybe Facebook. And I just pick back up with them again. And I try to keep up with a Excel sheet each year of the advisory kids. And those are the ones I can mainly track. I don't have contact with all hundreds of kids that come through the program. It would be nice if there was some way to do that, but my 12, 15 advisory kids, those are the ones I tend to track. And it's just, like I said, email, phone number, maybe their parents' address that I've kept on Excel sheets over the years. But I've been asked for that data from our national people, and they said, yeah, that would be very valuable because it would help them sell the program more and get sponsors. But it's very hard data to collect, honestly. We collect it each year by the registration. We do demographics on our registration, and we keep that year to year so we can compare the years. But the pandemic kind of ruined everything with that. So we do have it for the years of the pandemic because we did online presentations. But so that's my long answer.
It sounds pretty similar to my answer, Cynthia, because I connect with my students earlier when they're in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. I can not only keep the students' email addresses, but I keep their parents' emails. Mm-hmm. So I reach out, once every so often and just send out a thing. Something we started this year, and I don't know if you can see it or not in my room. It's in the back corner. We started a great Gateway to Greatness wall because my first GTT students are starting to graduate from high school or from college. And so I reached out, we put a post on just our school Facebook. Hey, if you've done great things and we're part of Oak Brook Middle, like reach back out. And it actually started because one of the Olympians, Miss Quinn, went to Oak Brook. So we were talking about her, and then some of the kids were like, well, what about the non-athletes? So we just kind of put a blurb out there. So we reach out that way. But a lot of it's like Cynthia said, it's building those relationships. They reach back to us when they find out things. I have students who show up, I have students now who I taught their parents, but they reach back out in those kind of ways, and the community will build back out as well. So I learn a lot through that, and through the high school programs will reach back to me and tell me which of my students have made it all the way through to the end. So again, I think it goes back to that building relationships. But I keep those parent emails, and when we have neat things going on, I send them out to the parents, and their kids are like, oh, I'll volunteer and I'll come to that. I want to go back and help Miss Baldwin with the community days we're doing. So I think it goes back to that building those relationships with the kids. Tracy?
Yes, building those relationships, definitely. And through our teacher cadet and teacher student mentoring programs from the high school, they want to come back into my room and help. Like I said, Bailey and Madison, just happened to see it on our school Facebook, and they messaged me quickly. Just, trying to stay in contact as much as possible. But, like Cynthia said, you do lose them through the pandemic. We had some, I guess, ghosting students during the pandemic. But for the most part, they do. They'll email me or, whatever, and stay in contact that way.
Mm-hmm. a lot. I imagine Cynthia and Tracy are like me. Once they're my students, they're always my students. You know, they reach out when they need things of all. Like Tracy said, when I was at the Citadel for an event a couple weeks ago, she just walked up to me and she's like, I know you, you know Miss Elmore, she's fantastic. So they make those connections and they find those, and then hopefully they become Million Women Mentors and some of the other groups that reach out. So it doesn't take them long to continue to make those, especially girls. Girls like to find those hooks of those people that are the positive influences in their lives, and they stay in contact with them.
I will say real quick, if you have under 13-year-olds, my school district wouldn't let us have their emails because of privacy. You know, we had to get parents' email permission to have any kind of social contact with the under 13 crowd. So that is something that came up this last year. And I think that was because of all the Zooming with, you know, the parents not wanting their kids' pictures taken or out on the social media. So do be aware of that. If you're collecting information or data, you have to think about privacy issues. In big trouble. So
that's a good point. I do make sure, and Tracy might do this as well. Anytime I have an event, it says on there that I give permission, because I mean, I have photographers who come, we've had news media come, and then I let them know. So if there's anyone that's not comfortable, they can let me know. And then I kind of, I don't, flag is the wrong word, but I make sure that there's a way to identify that student doesn't wish to be photographed. One year we just put a little star on their right shirt side of the shirt, so the photographer knew if they saw that in any of the pictures that was a picture that they didn't use that part. So just something very easy, just to identify a parent who's not comfortable with their child being on social media or in any media in any way. So
yeah, and just like with these webinars, putting the pictures on the PowerPoints and stuff, I always check with my parents to make sure they're okay. You know, I tell them it's going to go out to the state. So, you know, are you okay? Your child's picture's out there. So
great. I know, Carm, you're probably like me when we talk about it, just having all this opportunities in the state of South Carolina, you know, and we get bad press sometimes in the news, but it's because people don't really know how all the awesome things that are going on within our state, you know, and to promote the businesses I mean, it's growing here constantly. It's going to keep growing. And so if we can get more of these kids excited about that global workforce and seeing the opportunity to be in a career that they didn't anticipate, and teaching those soft skills that STEM teaches them to be, you know, good human beings who work hard and listen and communicate. Those are skills that'll take them everywhere in life. I love it. Becky, did you have any? I saw you joined us. Did you have any questions or anything, or might be just sitting back and listening to all of us?
Well, good afternoon. No, I'm just sitting back and listening. I'm actually a coordinator at the district level. And so I was just listening to see, and I'm hoping I'll get the recording to see what support or what help I can offer our schools here in Marion County. That's where we're located.
That's awesome. And we've shared the resources, and we'll make sure to share the recording out, and our contact information will be there as well if you need anything and would need any help getting any of these organizations or things started in your area. We'd love to help out in Marion.
Thank you so much. We surely need it. We're over here right out of Horry County, but we don't have any colleges located really in our county. And so we're always looking. I was trying to partner with Coastal Carolina because they are just started an engineering program there. And we were working with them, and I think they're working on their accreditation now. So we were trying to connect with them a little bit. We're still actively seeking ways to get our girls, especially, but our more diverse.
I think you've heard a bunch of opportunities today, and you can go back and watch the recording and share, and there might just be something there that you guys can use as that hook. I'd love to hear that. That'd be awesome.
Thank you so much, ladies.
Thank you. Well, guys, I think, Carm, go ahead. I saw you.
I'm sorry. I got one last quick question.
No, you're good.
Every one of you, all the speakers today, talked about how empowering a student voice in whatever you do, because that is so impactful. So for folks that are here today, as well as in the future listening to the recording, do you have any best tips of how to get educators and non-educators to use student voice to make other students and people in general, young adults, to get into the STEM field? What are your best tips or suggestions that how we as educators and non-educators can use student voice to empower them to continue to get
So I think I will start. I will say that in my own experience, right, with my own nieces and nephews and the students that I know, that I mentor, that I may meet at work. You know, you have co-op students come in, which I used to be a co-op student at one point, and you start to connect and interact with each other. And I think part of that is encouraging students to pursue certain fields, or like, say for instance, like I said before, I'm an electrical engineer. I didn't know anything about PE, getting my professional engineering license when I was in school. I think right around my last semester, a friend of mine came and said, hey, let's take this one more class. I was like, what? You out of your mind. I didn't know the benefits of it. So now that I know, I'm able to tell someone else. I'm able to share my experiences, whether I benefit or not. So, and I think exposure is good. So a lot of times what I like to do with students, I like to take them to different places, to introduce them to different environments, as well as, you know, with Million Women Mentors, with our student lead, part of it is building up their self-confidence, their presentation skills, their speaking ability, because most of us that are engineers and problem solvers and in science fields, we like to be in our own little bubble, solve our own little problem. I don't need anybody else, but we have to be able to present. We have to be able to interact. And that's the point of that role, is to get that student. We already know they're great in STEM. We already know they have the brain power, they have the acuity to do it, but now I need you to be able to express it. And again, it's not always what you know, but who you know, to put you in front of the right person, to put you in front of the right people so that they can see your light and see your intelligence and allow you to express and give you that self-confidence. I think is so very important with students. And I think one of the ladies mentioned it before, where they said that when they first started, it was in their STEM program, it was always the boys. But they had to encourage the young ladies, because guess what? Everyone's telling me I shouldn't do it, or it's, you know, it's for boys, so why would I try? So that's why I said it's so very important to encourage them and to look for those little characteristics. Say she's a great problem solver. She's deep in thought over that issues. What's on your mind? Share, right? And sometimes you have to pull it out of them, but it's so well worth it, I think.
You know, being educators like we are, you listen for those and you want that feedback from the kids. You want to know, what do you need? What do you see? And when they make, you know, when I request a guest speaker, I ask, do you have anyone that's a minority in that field? Do you have a female in that field? Do you have somebody that this is their second career, so that the kids can see, like, look, they didn't go into this thinking they wanted to do this all the time. It's exposure, and it's getting the feedback from the kids. You know, over the last few years, especially during the pandemic, I have learned about so many different things I did not think I was going to know about, because I took the time to ask the kids, what are you interested in? What questions do you have? Where do you want to go with this? And it sounds like, I know Million Women Mentors and the Teen Science Camp, it has those advisory councils. Tracy and I reaching back out to the kids, like, what activities did you like? What do you want to do again? And it's just being that good educator to listen to the kids, to gather that information, to, you know, if they're going to be shy, send them a survey. A middle school kid on a survey won't be shy. They might be shy in person, but you give them a spot to write, they are not shy. They will tell you exactly what they thought and exactly what they didn't like. But, you know, just getting that feedback from the kids, asking them, would you be interested if we do this? you know, taking a chance. When we started Girl Power, we expected maybe 20, 25 kids, and we had 63. So, you know, it's just taking that chance and putting that foot forward and saying, hey, let's give it a shot and see if it works. And, you know, like I said, like Latia said, just getting that feedback and listening to the girls, because they'll tell you exactly what they need and what they don't understand and what they are looking for. So, you know, just being that open mind and that listener, which I know all great teachers and all the great people in this meeting, we do it all the time because we listen to each other so we can get that feedback. All right, well, go ahead, Tracy.
I agree with all of that. I had read something the other day about girls in STEM, and that a lot of times, and I have said this in the past, oh, you're so smart. But to the boys, we say, oh, that was good. You did a good job. And to the girls, we say that they're so smart. And that sometimes when they get to a problem that they're trying to solve in engineering or coding or whatever, and they struggle with it, then they think they're not smart enough. And the article was saying we need to be careful and say, you are such a hard worker. You really persevere through. You really know how to problem solve more than you're so smart. So I really have been kind of thinking about that. I read it about a couple weeks ago. And even with my 4-year-old granddaughter, who I've introduced STEM to her and had her, you know, have her do something every time I keep her. But I would say, you're so smart. And now I'm not really saying that as much. I'm saying more of a hard worker. You solve problems, you know, excellent or something, you know. So I don't know, that article just kind of struck me a little bit about girls in STEM and how we say things to them different than boys.
No, I totally agree with you, Tracy, because we had a little workshop not long ago about the emotional intelligence type stuff that's coming out. And I know it's impacting education a lot. But that's one thing, is we do talk different to guys than we do to the gals. So we need to be aware of that. I think that's so true.
Well, ladies, for today. Ms. Ford, I appreciate you joining us, and I hope you'll reach out if you have any other questions or need anything at any time. And Latia, Cynthia, and Tracy, thank you for taking time out of your day to share across the state. And Carmen, Dallas, for always helping us host these wonderful webinars, because we really do appreciate everything South Carolina is doing for STEM education. So everyone have a great rest of the afternoon. Stay dry in this weather that is coming our way, and be safe. Bye, guys.